everybody, and welcome to Mumkey and Manimal's Movie Missions. I am Mumkey Jones.
I am dead on the inside.
And I am Monkey's dad.
Now, you at home, you probably got two thoughts on your mind. First, you're thinking, where the hell is Lightning Long Johnson? And second, you're thinking, Mumkey, did you just show a Serbian film to your dad? And the answer to the second question is...
Yes.
And, Manimal, where's Lightning Long Johnson this month?
He's dead.
Jesus.
Don't worry.
Did his mom and dad cuddle around him in a bed and have a three-way suicide? Or?
Don't worry about it. We're looking at ways to reincarnate his corpse.
He'll be reincarnated for next month.
We'll bring him back.
So, for those of you who are new to the show, maybe you Google a Serbian film from time to time and click on whatever pops up, and you found this time. This is a podcast, the only podcast on the internet where Manimal and Mumkey watch the movies that the audience votes for. So every month, there's this big list of movies down in the description in a straw poll, and everybody votes on what they want us to suffer through watching. And this month, the winner, by popular demand and by Mumkey's demand, was a Serbian film.
Sure was.
The last 3 months, I have been begging and pleading with the audience to vote for this one, and they finally did it. And, well, as you can tell from my two co-hosts this month, it's a great movie, right, guys? You guys are excited, you're happy to be here, didn't drain the life out of you, you still have your will to live.
After watching this movie, I feel both ill in the stomach and a desire to be alone and not be around.
So sitting here with two people and recording a podcast for an hour is exactly what you're up for right now.
I feel very uncomfortable.
What about you, Daddy? How do you feel about the movie?
It was horrible.
What was so bad about it? I thought it'd be it's like a touching film about a father struggling to fend for his family. I thought you could relate.
Yes. I can relate.
So let's very quickly go through the plot of the film, and I know you both were paying a lot of attention, so I'm gonna leave that up to you. But I'm an expert in this movie. Okay, I've seen it over 10 times. So as you guys try to explain the plot from beginning to end, I'll come and help you out if you're making mistakes or forgetting something. So Manimal, take the lead.
So the movie starts, and there's a little boy watching a porno, and his dad was the one starring in the porno. So we find out that the dad was a porn star.
And his name is Milos.
That's
right.
Then we get a lot of awkward scenes of Milos talking about masturbating, and explaining to his son how you do it. And I didn't like that.
Okay.
Because his son was only 8, and it felt weird and gross.
So back in the day, Milos used to be this big-time porn star, probably the biggest porn star in all of Serbia. But now he wants to retire, he wants to get out of it, he settled down with a beautiful wife, and now he has an 8-year-old son. And he just wants to get away from that lifestyle and settle down and be a simple man. But he's having money troubles, right? They can't afford, the son is Pitar, they can't afford his singing lessons. So then one day, Milos meets up with an old porn star friend of his, some prostitute-looking woman.
So he meets with her. She's like, yo, I met this director. He's going to give you a lot of money. He's going to change your life around. He's an artist. You're an artist. This is art.
So if you do this one last job with this director, and it's going to be an artistic job, he will give you enough money to pay for Pitar, and he'll be good for the rest of his life.
Set for life.
So Milos is like, okay, I'm interested in that. So... do you know what happened next, Daddy-O?
He went and met the producer.
Uh-huh. And what's he like?
Odd.
A regular oddball, you might say.
Yep.
He's a very eccentric artist. And the director, who is the villain of the film, I think... He and Milos, who... And the actor who plays Milos, the main character, he's also the writer and director of the film. So he's a triple threat, you could say. but I think the two of them give genuinely good performances in the film, whereas Milos his actor has to go through lots of torture as well as being drugged up and enraged a lot, whereas the director, not the director of the film, but the director in the movie, the character director, he is like this eccentric, crazy person who's very eccentric, but it's just very creepy and entertaining at the same time.
Yeah.
So Milos meets up with the director guy, and he's kind of interested in the movie. And after he finds out how much he's going to get paid for it, he talks to his wife, and she's like, "You got to do it. Just do this last job, and we'll be set for life." So he shows up on set, and we're skipping through this movie quite a bit.
Because he wants to know what it's about, and they won't tell him.
Right.
Yeah.
The director's excuse is, who wants to know the plot of a porno? Which I think is a good point.
Sure.
Like when Manimal looks for porn, he's not looking for the plot. He's looking for midget, ebony bitches, right?
Cut. Cut. Cut that. We'll cut that out in post. Let's keep this going. Let's keep it going.
Okay, so he shows up on his... Oh, by the way, we should mention he has a brother. His brother is a cop.
Yeah.
And we get a scene of his brother in the kitchen with his wife. Not the brother's wife, but Milos' wife.
Yep.
And the brother is kind of perving on the wife, looking at her butt.
While their son's in the kitchen as well.
He's sitting there like eating ice cream or something.
Yeah, he's like right there, and he's perving on his wife.
And then he's so overwhelmed by watching her eat an apple that he goes into the bathroom and jerks off into the sink.
Yeah.
But I'll get into this, because there's a lot of deeper meanings going on here that you might not understand. I know Manimal didn't understand.
I'm just too much of a simpleton
Yeah,
to pick up on it.
But I'll fill you in with my hypotheses of the film once we get to the end of the plot. So Milos he's training for this final job. He's doing his dick workouts. He's jogging, all kinds of fun stuff. And he shows up on set, and it's at an orphanage for abandoned children. So now we're getting to territory like, okay, so far this movie has just had a lot of pornography in it. Okay, so that's not so bad. But now we're entering the realm of actual creepiness.
Yeah.
With shooting a porno at an orphanage. What's going on? So Milos is walking through, and the cameramen are filming him for the porno scene, and he has no idea what's going on. And he finds like a 12-year-old girl sitting on in a stairwell, and then who I assume is her mother comes in and starts yelling at her and slapping the shit out of her. And then that's the end of that scene, and Milos is like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So he's kind of freaking out.
You and me both, buddy.
He calls his cop brother and says, "Hey, can you investigate this porn director and his crew? I think might be something shady going on." And the brother's like, "Oh yeah, I'll look into it." And he does look into it, and it turns out there's nothing shady about them. He's a very educated movie director, all of that. So the next scene that they film at the orphanage, he walks in, and is this when the woman's just getting beat up by some guy?
Oh yes, he gets.
Was that before, or was this like he was getting a blowjob, and then they had two screens playing, and there's just a little girl sitting there,
and then one of the guards comes and chokes him.
Yeah. So he's getting a blowjob in this room, and then there's these two monitors up of like a little girl eating ice cream or something, or sucking on a popsicle. So the idea is that he's getting his dick sucked by a woman while watching footage of a young girl sucking on something, and that's already just off the wall crazy as it is. But then the woman starts. Is this when she starts biting on his dick?
I think that was another scene. That was a little later on.
Okay, so. But
that was later on, because then in another scene, the little girl is literally in the room while this is happening. And then he's like, "I'm not doing this," and he tries to back out. And then
one of the crew members grabs him, puts him in a chokehold, and the woman starts biting on his dick, and they're telling him, beat her. So he has to punch the woman in the face repeatedly, which, if a woman's biting on your dick, isn't it dangerous to punch her in the face? Wouldn't that just make her clench down harder, don't you think? Isn't there a better way to stop her from doing that? Like pulling out your wallet?
I don't ever want to get in that position. So I don't want.
Hey, let's test it out, okay?
No.
Do you want to play the woman or the guy? Cut!
Moving on. Let's get through this thing as quick as possible. Just power through.
just like Milos did. Okay, so after this, Milos is like, I'm done. I don't care how much money this is gonna get me. I'm quitting. But he leaves. He tries to leave, and the director corners him, and he says, hey, listen, here's the thing. Who cares what your mind thinks if your dick liked it? And I guess that's enough for Milos. He's like, okay, well, I guess I'll come back for another time. So he goes to talk to his wife, and they talk about it, and he's like, no, I'm quitting. I'm going to go in. I'm going to tell him I'm done. I'm through. This has gone on way too far. So he goes in, and the director offers him a drink. Milos accepts, and then the director gives him this big spiel. And I think this is the author of the movie, which happens to be the director and the main actor. This is when his direct voice is coming through the character, when the porn director is talking to Milos. His name is Volkmir, I think. Vukmir?
Something like that, something along those lines.
Because he's talking about, and this is the whole conceit of the movie, I believe, about how the people of Serbia are born getting fucked by the government and by the police state and all of that. And I don't know a whole lot about the history of Serbia. Actually, I don't really know anything about it at all, except that it's kind of a bad place to live, and it's pretty bad for the people there. And so the whole point of the movie is kind of it's a conceit for how terrible conditions are for the people of Serbia, and all the bad things that happen to Milos within the film, both within the film and the film within the film. So it's like it's a double conceit. All those bad things are representative of what it's like to be a citizen of Serbia. So that's where I think this movie is a bit deeper than people pointed out. People look at a Serbian film and say, oh, this is just stupid, grotesque trash. But I think there are a few slightly deeper levels going on, but we'll get into that a little later.
Sure.
So the director gives him that little speech, and then he pulls down a projector screen, and the most famous scene in the movie happens. Who wants to tell everybody at home about the best scene in the movie? Oh, Manimal's got his finger on his nose.
No, not doing it.
Why do you consider that the best scene in the movie?
By best, I mean the most famous one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what it is?
A woman giving birth.
Okay, so there's a woman on a table getting birth. It's kind of shot in grainy footage, kind of an older camera, so it has that more of a real aesthetic to it rather than like a professional Bang Bros porno like Manimal would know. This is more like something you'd find on X Hamster.
Cut.
Why are you getting so embarrassed?
Keep it going.
So this woman's giving birth, and Manimal... I've never seen Manimal shield his eyes before with his hands.
Nothing grotesques me more than the human anatomy.
So we actually see this woman giving birth. I mean, it's obviously fake, but it's like
I don't care if it's fake or not. I still can't.
You see the baby getting squeezed out of the no square of a woman's. Dad, you know more about this than I do. I think you were there when I was born. Is that what it looked like?
Pretty much.
Okay. I don't think Manimal's ever going to be a father.
Hell no.
And so you're like, okay, so we're watching a woman give birth. That's pretty gross. But oh no. And Manimal already had his eyes covered at this point, but it gets worse. Because then the man who helped the baby come out, he has sex with the baby.
He sure did.
And then the Milos is absolutely disgusted, as any reasonable person should be. And he storms out, and the director yells, "No, Milos! It's newborn porn! Newborn porn!" He's so into his artistic vision that he doesn't understand the lack of morality that goes with raping a newborn baby. So I think another message of this film is the exploration of what is art and what is not art.
Sure.
And I think the argument here is that having sex with a newborn baby is not art. It's a pretty bold stance for the film's director to take, I think. But it's his first film, so he had to get noticed somehow. So now Milos is driving home. He's done. He's not doing this shit anymore. He never wants to see that director again. But uh-oh. His head's feeling kind of woozy, and his dick's super hard, and he's like, what's going on? He got drugged. The drink that the director gave him had a drug in it.
It sure did.
And so then Milos is at a stop sign. If they have stop signs in Serbia, I don't know. He stopped the car at some sort of sign. And one of the henchmen, one of the female henchmen, comes up and he starts fondling her boobs, and she gets in the car and drives off. And then we get a whole bunch of scary images up on the screen real fast, a whole bunch of quick cuts, and then we see Milos waking up in his bed. And this is where the movie turns into what I like to call an extreme version of The Hangover. That film, The Hangover. So the plot of The Hangover is that these guys get drugged, they wake up, and they have to solve the mystery of where their friend Doug is. Okay, That's the plot of The Hangover. The plot of a Serbian film is that a man gets drugged, wakes up, and has to solve the mystery of what happened to him while he was drugged, and where, most importantly, where his family is. So it's very similar to a Serbian film, to The Hangover in that regard.
And he noticed it was 3 days after the last time he remembered.
Yeah,
right.
On the radio it said tomorrow, the 18th, something was going to happen.
It was... And that part was, like, very over-the-top exposition. Like, the radio announcer, tomorrow's date, which, by the way, is the 18th of May. Like, okay, come on.
And then, he looks at his radio, and it says, like, the 21st or something like that.
Yeah, and he's disheveled, his clothes are a mess, he's covered in blood. He's like, what the hell happened to me? He searches his house, his family's missing. So he starts freaking out, as any reasonable person would. I think that's a phrase I'll be saying a lot during this review. And what does he do first? Does he tries to call himself?
Yeah, because he tries to call a few people.
Yeah, he calls his wife's phone.
Yeah, and he finds his wife's phone, and then he tries to call himself with it, and the phone is out of service. He tries to call his brother, and the phone is out of service. So he goes and gets in his car, and he's driving up to where the porno shoot was, and he has a... What was that thing he had? The
tire iron.
Tire iron. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill these people. And he shows up, and the place is abandoned. But he walks into this room and finds a bed and a painting splattered with blood, and a bunch of blood on the floor. And then he starts having flashbacks of what happened. And this is where it's going to get tricky talking about the movie, because it now exists there's like the present Milos and him trying to solve the mystery, and then it's also half flashbacks of him reliving or remembering what happened or watching it on a tape. So what happened in that room? Manimal, you win.
He was drugged up, and they had a girl chained to a bed, and he had sex with her. And
they're giving him, like, they say it's a drug. It's what's that human drug that makes you horny?
Viagra.
Yeah, they say it's like Viagra for bulls, and they're like injecting it straight into his bloodstream. So he's just an animal at this point. He's not in control at all, and that's important to note later on for my review of the film.
And he has an earpiece.
Yeah, and then they're able to just basically tell him...
The porn director's always in his ear saying, hit her, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is beautiful art, blah, 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 blah. So he's got... There's this woman, and she's not part of this. I imagine it's just some woman that they kidnapped, because she's chained to the bed, and she's screaming, and Milos is raping her.
Yeah.
And then he's beating her with his fists, and she's screaming bloody murder, and it's very unpleasant to watch. But then it gets even more unpleasant because they hand Milos a machete.
Yep.
And then that's when Manimal yelled "cut!" Yep. But it was inappropriate because then he did cut.
It was bad timing because then he cut her head off, and I was like, oh no.
Do you think one of the assistant directors was yelling "cut" during that scene, and the actor was just so into it?
He just started cutting faster. He's like, no, stop.
Oh, wait. I guess this is part of the movie now. I guess Milos cuts off her head. Ugh. In Serbia, if an actress gets killed, nobody cares. That's kind of the message of the movie, is that they have to do extreme things in order to get noticed. If this movie didn't have a scene of newborn porn or of all the other bad stuff, you would have never heard of this movie. So he had to put these terrible images and scenes into the film to get it noticed, so that people around the world would notice the trouble in Serbia. It's very important. It's deep. It's art. God damn it. Right, guys?
No.
Right, Dad?
No, it's just disgusting.
Damn it. I will convince somebody that this movie is good. I might be the only person in the world who likes it. But so... Milos, after remembering that he raped a woman and cut off her head, he searches around some more and finds a video camera and a bunch of tapes. And me and Manimal were enjoying the way that the tapes were marked, because
they had him They just had instead of like having a brief description of what each
like
tape
written in words with
written
letters
word or something like that. It just had like pictures of dicks drawn on.
Yeah,
them.
like a little cartoon dick was drawn on, or like there's like a hand with 2 fingers sticking out and like a smiley face on it.
Yeah, just imagine like cataloging this in like a drawer or something like that, and the director being like, "Oh, hey, bring me one of those tapes. Oh, yeah, which one do you want? Oh, the one with the dick on it. Bring me the one with the dick on it."
That's half of them.
Half of them have dicks on it. Oh, the one that's bending slightly to the left,
Yeah.
not an extreme amount, just like a slight little curve.
So what you're saying is the director could have organized his tapes better than just drawing a little picture on each one to differentiate between them.
It doesn't matter.
So Milos watches a couple of the tapes, and it's a bunch of fucked up stuff, like a woman with her arms chained up above her head, and she had all of her teeth pulled out with pliers.
Was that supposed to be his friend?
That was his brother.
No. The girl. Was the girl supposed to be his friend?
No.
Trying to get him out?
Oh, it might be. I don't remember.
Because
that's what I was thinking.
We go from a video clip of one of the goons got a clip of his porn star friend talking
from
to
the
director.
beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning.
Who got him involved?
Talking to the director, saying this is wrong. This isn't art. You've gone way overboard.
Although she's kind of in on it, because she says, if you wanted... She's upset because they drugged Milos, and she told them, if you wanted him to do this, you should have just cut off his son's ear or kidnapped the son or something. But now you just have like a crazy fuck monster in Milos. When Milos is a true porn artist, he should have control over his mind. So she's not upset that bad things are happening to Milos. She's upset that he got drugged and that it's ruining the integrity of the art.
So she's not that great of a person.
She's
either.
a bad person.
Yeah, she is. But
so you think that's her who you think that was her who got all of her teeth pulled out then?
I do, because she's like, I'm taking Milos and we're leaving.
It's hard to recognize somebody when they have all their teeth pulled out. and they're chained up and it's dark.
They don't really show her face, but I'm pretty sure it was like her same hair.
Yeah, it could be.
And
and then a man in a mask who I guess I won't reveal who it is, although I kind of already did. He walks in and he receives the gummiest blowjob of all time, I suppose.
I think he actually strangles her with his dick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she
probably,
dies.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's dead after that.
And they pull out her teeth
like
so that she couldn't bite the dick off. That's suffocating her.
All right, moving on.
So we should I'm going to have a second straw poll with all of the terrible things that happen to people in this movie, and people can vote on which one would be the worst way to die. So teethless dick suffocation will be one of the options. We'll also have getting raped and a machete cutting through your neck. Which one are you going to vote for so far, Manimal? Me, I'd rather have my head cut off with a machete than to suffocate on a dick. But that's just me.
At least it's quick and painless.
Yeah. Suffocation takes a little while.
All right.
Especially on a dick.
Yep. Sure does.
So next he's going through all the tapes, and he's uncovering the mysteries of what happened, and what's the next important thing? There's a tape of one of the bodyguards raping him while he's unconscious, which is grotesque. Then we get to a tape of him, and this is one of the creepiest parts of the movie. He's in a house with this old woman and her... And it might be the same 12-year-old girl from the rest of the movie.
I'm pretty sure it is.
And the old woman is saying, I think her son was named Raiko. I'm going to say it's Raiko. She says, she's talking to I was about to say Manimal. She's talking to Milos. She says, oh, thank God must have sent you here, because poor Reiko, this girl's father, he was a brave warrior, but he died, and now he can't do for her what my father did for me. And the implication is that this family, the daughter gets her virginity taken by her father. And they were upset that the father was dead and that they couldn't, but now they have a brave man like Milos to do it. And the drugs effects are starting to kind of wear off, and Milos is kind of aware of what's going on. He's looking around, he sees the cameras and the director like urging him on, and he looks at the 12-year-old girl smiling at him, and he's like, oh, hell no. And he jumps up and he grabs a knife and he holds it up to his hard dick, and he's like, I'll cut it off! I'll cut it off! And everybody's freaking out. It's pandemonium. The star's dick's about to get cut off. What are we going to do? And then Milos jumps out the window.
Yeah.
Which, do Because he's naked, right? No, he's not naked. He
he's
pulls out his dick. I was like, where did he get his clothes? But he always had his clothes. So he's running through the slums of Serbia, and it's kind of a poverty-stricken place. I mean, it's not good. There's like cages on everything, like on all the windows. And he runs into a store, and he steals a phone card so that he can use the payphone, and he calls his brother and says, hey, I'm at this street. Something really bad's happening. Please come get me. And Milos is he's sitting, waiting in an alley, just cuddled up, or not cuddled, but huddled up.
Yeah.
And he's just like freaking out. He's like hyperventilating. He's terrified. And that's, it's pretty good acting, I think. He seemed like he was genuinely terrified to me. And then there's this woman who walks by, and these two guys are hitting on her, and the drugs haven't worn off, so Milos is sitting in the corner jerking off to this girl. And the two guys see him, and they're like, hey, what you doing jerking off in the alley? And they start beating the shit out of him. And then car pulls up, and you're like, oh, good, the brother's there to save him. No. It's not the brother.
It's the director.
The director found him, and they take him, and this is still in flashback. We haven't gotten back to the present really yet.
Yep.
And they take him to this warehouse. So now present Milos remembers all of this, and he goes to the warehouse, and he finds a room where he made one of the female accomplices. He made her vagina explode by injecting her with some of the drug straight into her neck. And he tried to escape at this point because they injected it with more of the drug. But before it took full effect, he tried to escape again, but then they got control of him. And that takes us to the big finale of the movie, when they go into the room, and there's two bodies lying on a table, and they're completely covered, and they have hoods over their heads, so you can't see who they are. And the director's like, yeah, go have sex with them. And Milos, he's so drugged up and crazy from just getting a new dose that he starts having sex with one, and then he notices that the other one is even smaller, so he goes over to that one. And then the masked man from the tooth pulling video comes in and starts having sex with the bigger one. The mask is pulled off, and it was extremely painful, I believe, to pull off the mask. Because he was a big guy.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not in the mood for Bane posting today. I'm just...
Bane.
And it's revealed that it's the brother, the cop brother, which is important because one of the themes of the film is that the police in Serbia are corrupt, and that is symbolized by the brother being a cop and being one of the most corrupt people in the film, because he's not drugged up. He's doing this of his own accord.
He is.
Because he was jealous of his porn star brother being able to have a beautiful wife and a happy family, whereas he couldn't even keep his dick up to have sex with a prostitute. So the cop is doing this for revenge, and because he wants to bang Milos' wife. And so he's one of the scariest villains in the movie. Although everybody working for the porn director and the porn director, they're nuts.
Yeah.
They're absolutely nuts. So then they pull off the masks of the people who are getting fucked, and it's revealed that the brother is having sex with his wife, and Milos finds out that he is butt raping his own 8-year-old son. And that really sobers him up pretty quick, and he realizes, oh my god.
Yep.
And that's when all the violence of the film begins, and everybody just gets killed in a bloody mess. Milos jumps up and starts smashing the director's head into the ground.
Yep.
And cracking his skull open. The wife jumps up and is biting the brother's neck, and she bites out his voice box or something.
Yeah, she really goes for the jugular, and she gets it.
Yeah, she sure does. The son, he's just laying there with foam coming out of his mouth. He doesn't really do much. Milos gets a gun and shoots all of the guys except for one, and then he finishes the last guy off by punching his sunglasses off, seeing that one of his eyeballs are missing, and then he sticks his dick in the eye socket to kill the guy. And it's pretty badass and cool, right?
Yep.
No.
Oh. So they kill all the bad guys, and all that's left are Milos, his wife, and his son. She's scared of him. She tries to stab him, and he knocks her out by punching her. And he's still pretty much under control of the drug. He takes them home and locks them in a downstairs room, and then he goes and falls asleep on his bed, and that's where he wakes up 3 days later.
Yep.
So now Milos knows where his family is. He goes to find them, and they're just all like terrified, and he gives them a hug, and then I imagine like they stay alive for another day because they're kind of just sitting at home. They wash themselves up, and they're just depressed and terrified and suffering from PTSD and all these horrible things. And Milos is just like staring at his handgun, thinking, "I'm gonna kill myself. I gotta do it."
Which in this situation, I think, is the only thing you can do.
And then he and the wife have the mutual decision of lying in bed together with their son, and lying in a way where that Milos can pull the trigger and the bullet will kill all three of them. So they do that, and then the big twist at the end, the big Inception top spinning moment, is that we see the shot of the three of them lying dead in bed together, and then it shows a new camera crew filming a new porno, recording them dead, and the director of that film says to one of the men, "Start with the little one," and he starts unzipping his pants, and smash cut to credits. Smash Mouth starts playing.
But
Hey now,
But-
an all-star.
the people at the end of this last scene were coming out of the director's house.
Yeah, towards the beginning. So this is
evidently-
all part of the plan.
Yes, they must be like the main people.
So the crazy director who we see throughout the film, he's so obsessed with his art, and he sees all of this as art, that he is willing to die for it. So he planned to get killed by Milos. All of this, everything in the movie was all part of the plan of the higher-ups. And I believe those people represent the Serbian government.
Sure.
And how they do all these terrible things to their citizens just for their personal gain. And I didn't take notes or anything. Someday I'm going to do an in-depth review of this film to prove to everybody that it is a little deeper than surface-level gore and shock. Because there's a lot of things people don't pick up on their first couple viewings of it, and I've seen it more times than probably most people, or more times than anybody.
More times than you want to admit.
No, I'm proud that I've seen this movie 10 times, dude.
I know you are.
But that's the plot of a Serbian film. So now that we've gone through the plot, we can very briefly explain whether or not we enjoyed the film. Now, Dad, I know you have been just itching to let everybody know how much you love the film and that it inspired you to become a filmmaker. So, just in a brief statement, what are your final thoughts about the film? Would you recommend it to anybody?
My final thoughts would be, I can't think of a better way to spend my Sunday afternoon.
There's a bit of malice in your voice when you said that. See, when you think of father and son bonding, do you think of watching this film, or would you rather go play catch outside?
Going outside, having a good old catch, sharing a beer together.
We could go bowling. You could teach me how to smoke a cigar. Take me to a strip club, or would you rather watch a Serbian film?
I'd rather do some other things.
Go see what Patchy's up to. There's a reason why I had two sons, in case one of them was a fuck up. Spent his time watching these shitty movies. Manimal, if you had to recommend this movie, what type of person would you recommend it to? Because we already know you loved it, but who do you think should check this out? Should the morbidly curious check it out, or would you say, no, even if you're curious, don't watch it, it's not worth it?
I wouldn't. Me personally, I didn't think it was worth it.
You didn't like it at all?
I tried coming in with an open mind, and
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
No, I legitimately did. I legitimately, watching the movie, I tried keeping an open mind, and it was just, for me, a lot of it, up until like the last 40 minutes, I was just bored.
Yeah, so that's a big problem with the film, is that until you get to the hangover kind of, the mystery element of trying to solve what happened, it's a lot of build-up and a lot of exposition, and it can be boring. It's like a lot of boring exposition mixed in with scenes of graphic pornography.
Yeah.
So it's off-putting and a little boring, but once you get to that second half of the movie, that's when it goes into high gear, and that's what it's famous for, is all the stuff from the middle onwards. But I will agree, the opening, it's going to be boring, and then people will be so bored that they'll wake up from their nap and then see a newborn baby getting raped, and they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
Who changed the channel?
Yeah. So no, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't recommend it to any audience?
No.
Oh man, that hurts me because
Nope.
I love this movie so much.
It's just.
Here's why I like it. Here's a reason why. Because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I can't wait to hear Mumkey try to defend this movie." The movie has a moral center, and that is Milos, the character. Now, if it was a movie about just a terrible, disgusting asshole who thought that raping and killing people was fun, and he was just having the time of his life the whole time, then I would agree. This movie would be insipid. It'd be stupid. It'd be disgusting.
So, nymphomaniac?
Sure. That's an independent woman having sex with men on trains.
That is fucking shit trying to disguise itself as art. Anyways.
But the fact that Milos is a victim, and that's another big theme of the movie is victims. The porn director says, we're all victims here in Serbia. He's doing this against his will. He's been drugged up, and he's suffering, and he's a character who suffers terribly. And I argue he might be one of the most... out of all of film, he might be the character who suffers the most, physically, emotionally, and mentally, because just I can't think of a character who worse things happen to. Is there a character who rapes their own son and then has to live with that?
No, he doesn't have to live with it. He killed him.
Well, yeah.
I was gonna say
he's so tormented he has to kill his entire family along with himself. I mean, it's heartbreaking, and that scene with him sitting in the alleyway, just shaking with fear, it was touching to me, and I think that the fact that Milos is a character who is doing this against his will and he's a victim is what makes it thrilling, and it's not just disgusting because the character himself feels disgusted with what is happening. There's scenes where he vomits as he remembers what he did, and he feels so guilty and upset with himself, and I think that's what drives the film is Milos's emotional journey through this terrible happening. One of the worst things that could ever happen to a person, ever, on film. And that's what makes the film so interesting to me. But despite all that, I'm sure you would still say, no, nobody should ever watch this, right?
Yes. Yes, I think you can...
There's probably going to be 2,000 views on this video in total. One of you 2,000... I hope I convinced somebody to check this movie out. This is in its entirety uploaded to YouTube, and I will have a link in the description so that you can go check it out if you are interested. Anyway, let's finish off the discussion of the movie by giving our final ratings. We do a rating system here at Mumkey and Manimal of 1 to 10, 10 being the best movie of all time, and 1 being utter shit, this is garbage, and don't watch it, there's no redeeming qualities. So on that scale... we'll start with Manimal. What rating would you give this film?
I give it 1 toilet full of vomit.
God damn. Out of how many toilets full of vomit?
How many ever toilets full of vomit it takes for me to feel better. I'm not kidding when I legitimately say that my stomach is literally upset. Like, I'm not feeling well right now.
I think they can tell.
Yeah.
What about you, Dad? What rating would you give the film? And keep in mind, in the history of this show, I'm the only one who has ever taken the ratings seriously, so feel free to make up any random bullshit you want.
Well, I would say out of film quality, if you can get by all the gross stuff that probably you should not see, I'd say I'd give it maybe a 3.
So you're considering like the performances and like the cinematography and the music and all of that?
Yeah, some of that.
I think it's a very competent film. You have to give it that.
Sure.
All the shots look nice. They have lots of cool things going on with the focus of the camera. I think even though it's in a different language and you have to read the subtitles, I think the good performances still shine through, even though you don't understand what somebody is saying. Especially Milos and Volkmir. I think, oh man, there's just so much creepiness to Volkmir and so much crazy passion coming from Milos when he's drugged up. So I think the performances are great. And the music, I really like the soundtrack. I think it's like this nice synthetic, I don't know all the hipstery words to describe that genre of music, but it sounds pretty cool. It's pretty intense. So on a cinematography, on a movie level, you'd give it a 3 out of 10?
Production level.
Yes.
Okay, well that's...
But I would say, even though we are 2 adults, it's not a good movie to watch with... your offspring.
See, that's the fun of this episode is that I watched it with my dad.
You have to live with that fact forever now that you guys.
Although, I mean, to be fair, when you found out that I saw Wolf of Wall Street without you, you were like, "Oh, what? We could have seen that together." Wolf of Wall Street has a lot of sex in it too. So what makes this different?
It really wasn't the sex. It was just the. I don't know.
Mixing sex, violence, and your offspring all together is not. It's not a good feeling.
It started off kind of pornish, watching porn, and this is not the first thing I think of when I watch porn is my son.
Really? Because when I watch porn, Dad, the first thing I think of...
I'm going to go ahead and cut. Manimal doesn't want to hear this. Nope.
Go, continue.
We need to get the air back on.
It's getting toasty.
Yeah, I do turn off the air conditioning now because I don't like the buzzing in the background. Okay, my final rating... I'm not going to go crazy and give it a 10 out of 10 because it's not a perfect movie. It is boring for the first half.
Yeah, I'd say more than the first half.
You think people getting raped and killed is boring? You turn on the news from Detroit and you think this is boring?
I'd probably say about a good... Like I said, we're getting into like the last 30 to 40 minutes before the movie finally starts picking up.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'd give the movie a solid 8 out of 10. If you consider all the things we discussed before. But let's get moving on to the next segment of the show. I've got a few fan comments I wanted to read off real quick. Because we do a fan mail segment. Let's pull those up. Okay, here's a comment from, and these were all from the last episode.
All right.
From Weeaboo Fish says, "Thanks for letting me vote for multiple films, Mumkey. I voted for every movie other than a Serbian film." Well, fuck you. We watched it anyway.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
Weeaboo Fish, go fuck yourself, asshole. We got one from...
Keep up the good work.
We got one from Lucasaur, who says, "I expect a Kermit the Frog voicemail in every video." It's funny that he says that because Kermit actually called in to this episode.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he left a voicemail again. Here, let me see if I can find it. Computer sounds, beep bop, beep bop. Oh, here it is. "Hey guys, Kermit the Frog here. I just wanted to say..."
Isn't this funny?
I just wanted... No! I just wanted to say
There you go.
I
There's your Kermit.
really like that Lightning Long Johnson fellow, and I can't wait to hear him in the next episode. Oh, I'm sorry, Kermit. Lightning Long Johnson isn't in this episode. Oh no! Oh, that's too
How are you talking to a voice recording?
Dude, technology has improved a lot.
Next comment.
That's too bad. I hope Lightning is back for the next one. Oh, don't worry, Kermit. I'm sure he will be. Thanks, Mumkey.
That's the worst. If he didn't tell you that was Kermit the Frog, would you guess that was Kermit the Frog? That is the worst Kermit the Frog impersonation I've ever heard in my life.
It sounds just like him because it is him. It's a real voicemail. I'm not making this shit up.
I'm Kermit the Frog here.
There he is. He called again.
You do realize Jim Henson died, right?
Oh.
Am I honoring his legacy? Okay, I've only got one more.
Let's go ahead and pay tribute to him.
So this one is from the Goon, who supports me on Patreon. Thank you very much, Goon. He says, "Guys, we're supposed to make Mumkey suffer here, not Manimal. Fuck you, Monkey Man." But fuck you, Goon, because I won, because we had to watch a Serbian film, and Manimal promised he would never watch it in his life, and we did.
We sure did.
All right, that's all the viewer mail we got this week. If you want us to read your comment, post one down in the comments of this video, and maybe we'll bring it in for the next episode. But finally, before we all melt from the heat, let's move on to the final segment of the show where we bore everybody to death by recommending movies we actually like that we think you should go check out. Let's start off with you, Dad. What movie do you like that you think everybody out there, if they haven't seen it yet, they should?
Serbian film.
Dude, that's still my bid.
I would say Rambo 2.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm all about that.
That's a good one.
So, 'cause I do have a lot of younger fans listening to this, probably people still in high school, so they might not have seen Rambo 2 when it came out, and they might have not seen it since. So do you think they should go watch the first Rambo before, or can they just skip to 2?
You can skip to 2. But if you watch the first one, it'll give you a little bit more about the background of Rambo, but
Now, is there a scene where Rambo has sex with his son?
no.
Well, then how can you recommend it? I mean, come on. That's, okay, so Rambo 2, straight from not the Mumkey's uncle, but the Mumkey's father. We should... Oh, yeah, I guess Mumkey's uncle can't because he's in prison, huh? What about you, Manimal? What movie would you like to recommend?
Well, this episode, Manimal had to suffer. So how about on the next show, guys? Everyone go ahead, get on straw poll.
Oh, no!
Go ahead, get your vote in for Only God Forgives.
Oh, God damn it.
We're going to make Mumkey suffer on this next one.
I hate Only God Forgives. That movie is boring and shit.
That movie is a work of art.
And I will note that I for the straw poll this week, usually it's 30 movies, but I think that's way too many for everybody to choose from, so I'm going to lower it down to like the 10 or 15 most voted ones, and I guess I'll put Only God Forgives on there.
Yeah.
Just so that I can prove that the fans like me more and they won't vote for Only God Forgives. So that's why I'm putting it on there, so that I can prove that they don't give a shit about what you want, Manimal.
Go ahead, prove him wrong. Prove that I am the main guy of this show.
Oh. Okay, so is that your recommendation of what they should watch, is go vote for Only God Forgives?
Yeah.
That was your recommendation last week.
Vote for it.
Or last month, I mean.
Let's get it going.
Okay. Now,
Check it out.
Let's get down to a real recommendation, okay. Rambo 2 is fine. Only God Forgives is fine. But here's, if you want to have a double feature...
How do I unplug this mic? How do I unplug this microphone?
If you want to have a double feature of mediocrity, you can watch those two. But if you want to watch a true film, true keenography, there's a little-known indie film called a Serbian
Only
film.
God Forgives.
A Serbian film. It's about a retired porn star named Milos, right? Hey, let's just go through the plot. I'll explain what happens.
God damn it.
And then everybody at home, all you gotta do is hit replay, go back to the beginning of this video, and listen through it all the way again.
I want to shove this
and you'll hear
slide
my
whistle down my throat so I can die.
Dude, you spoiled the slide whistle. I was gonna introduce it with lightning. Anyway, and real quick, since Manimal said to vote for Only God Forgives, I'm going to... I don't remember what's on the list. Go vote for Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, vote for that one. That's what I want to watch next month.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah,
I'd watch that.
Yeah, good. Don't vote for Only God Forgives.
No, vote for Only God Forgives.
Nope, don't do that.
Remember, guys, I suffered this month. It's only fair Mumkey has to suffer next month.
So, that's all we have for this month. If you missed Lightning Long Johnson, I hope Mumkey's dad made up for him. I certainly think he did, in spades. But for Mumkey and Manimal's movie missions, I have been Mumkey Jones.
I have been Manimal.
And I am Mumkey's dad.
I am regretfully the father of this disgusting human being. Right, Dad?
No.
Aw.
Should have thrown him off a mountain when he was still a baby.
Like Oedipus's dad tried to?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't really throw him off a mountain. He pierced his ankles together and then left him for dead. There, bye, everybody, on that happy note. Goodbye. See you next month.